Good morning. Greetings from a longtime friend, colleague, and mentor of Gilda Barabino. I am so glad to help mark and celebrate this momentous occasion. Gilda became part of my story when we worked together many years ago, and today I am proud to be part of this moment in her story, part of this profound occasion where Olin College officially inaugurates its second president and its first Black female president. Gilda and I met at Northeastern University in 1999 after I became the first African American provost at Northeastern. I had been dean of Northeastern's law school, which is one of the most unique and progressive law schools in the country. Yet I knew I would face greater challenges as provost to diversify and expand this traditional, predominantly white institution. I didn't know Gilda, but I knew of her outstanding reputation. There was a vacancy for the position of vice provost for undergraduate education. And I wanted a companion of excellence, diversity, and deep values to walk this road with me. So I invited Gilda to my office without telling her what the invitation was all about. We sat with anticipation in the chairs next to a big window with light streaming in. I remember her reticent smile when I shared my request with her to join me. She was an outstanding researcher and teacher. Administrative work was not on her radar screen. Eventually, she agreed to take the position, and she walked through the door I opened boldly and with a contagious confidence. At that simplistic but sacred moment, I opened a door for Gilda that was not in the academic cathedral she was designing for herself. Yet what I did was what was done for me. Doors that I was not considering were opened for me, and walking through them changed my life. I grew up in Savannah, Georgia in the 1950s, the child of parents who had very little education. My father left school after third grade to work on farms and ultimately on the railroad. My mother went to school for one day and then left to take care of her grandmother who was ill. My mother never returned to school for a second day. So I was nurtured in a home where neither parent was formally educated. Yet they instilled within me values of the importance of religion, family, community, hard work, and dreams. These values collectively were the first and most important door opened in my life. During my youth, my entire life was shaped by an evil system of segregation. Where I went to school, the movie theaters, and water fountains from which I drank were determined by the color of my skin. Everything you have ever read about how segregation works was my reality from birth. That reality was constantly sending a message that I was less than others. But inside that cruel reality was another supportive reality composed of my church, family, schools, athletic coaches, and others who sent a very different message. They opened doors with unequivocal signs that said to me, you can be something greater than what you are being told. I remember a particular day in fourth grade. It must have been in the afternoon because our school had morning and afternoon sessions since the building couldn't fit all of the students at once. One fateful afternoon, my teacher faced the rows of wooden desks and asked each student what they wanted to be when they grew up. When she started going around the room, I didn't know what I was going to say, but I liked the idea of being a lawyer, so that is what I said. Maybe from seeing Perry Mason on television, or from hearing about one or the two African American lawyers who practice in Savannah. But whatever the reason, when I blurted out, "I want to be a lawyer," my teacher replied, "You would be a great one." Now, this teacher was a very serious person, and her words carried weight. Her affirmation that day opened a door that became my destiny. I eventually became a lawyer and law professor. I had to claim that destiny for myself, but her simple words inspired me to claim something that seemed impossible to some. I always loved sports as a young man, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it was. And one day, my father, who knew very little about sports, said, "Why don't you become a basketball player?" I was so clumsy and uncoordinated that for much of my ninth grade year, the junior varsity coach didn't even put me in a uniform. He gave me the sacred task of guarding the door to the gym so people wouldn't sneak into the games for free. You see, Alfred E. Beach High School had an outstanding reputation for basketball, and people from all over the community would pack the high school gym and root for the blue and gold. This was Georgia, so the gym was hot and sweaty. We didn't have air conditioning, so we would crack the windows at the top for air to come in. This basketball tradition of excellence at Beach was cherished by many at the school and in the black community. And there I'd sit by one set of the double doors, making sure everyone who came paid. Despite my limitations, the coach of the junior varsity team saw something in me that others, including my best friend, didn't see. Instead of cutting me from the team, he found a way to keep me connected to the team, which meant I continued to practice and improve. And in the span of 1 year, I went from guarding the door to being a starter on the junior varsity team. The next year, I was a starter on the varsity team, and that year we won the state championship in the first year that the basketball league was integrated. We played against all of the white schools that had excluded us from their association previously. And through athletics, we had thrown a major stone that cracked the walls of segregation and the inferiority myth. That JV coach, in a very spiritual sense, saw beyond my faults and saw my dreams. His calling, as our calling as educators should be, was to open the door for people who may have lacked the skills but not the imagination or the drive. Today, I serve as president of the University of the Virgin Islands, a proud HBCU. The community that we serve is the epitome of diversity, of striving to make sure a particular culture is alive and well, and affirming the great potential of students who some institutions would reject. What my life stories convey is a powerful message that we should not enter into the ivory towers of higher education just for our own careers, but to make a difference for people, to open doors that are shut, and to shut doors of oppression, denial, and darkness. In our path through higher education, Gilda and I are part of the same unfolding story, a story about having doors open for us and opening doors for others, a story of dreams deferred and dreams realized. I know that at Olin, Gilda will continue to open doors for students, for faculty, for staff, and for the broader community. Doors of excellence and new ideas, doors of creativity, doors that lead to what the present age is calling the special institution to embrace. As Gilda's longtime friend, colleague, and mentor, my wish for Olin is that you have the courage to walk through these doors. They are a gift from Gilda and from generations of courageous people who open doors for others. I wish Olin the humility to accept the gift she offers and that you offer to each other. I wish Olin the patience to let those gifts manifest themselves. And I wish that you remember that once you walk through certain doors, the path isn't always smooth or without obstacles and detour signs. But please keep the faith and keep walking. And as the road gets difficult, I wish that you will remember to laugh and find a sense of joy in the midst of this hard work. Olin, in choosing Gilda as your president, you have selected a leader with creative vision and deep commitment who will never give up in the pursuit of opening up the next big opportunity to make a difference. Through open doors, we can see a new horizon and head out together on a creative path to reach that evolving destination. The creative process and mission of opening doors never ceases. It is something we constantly pursue, and it is the pursuit that renews us. With Gilda as your leader, Olin, keep chasing the next door, keep opening the next door, and keep unleashing dreams. Thank you.